in order to actually learn how to defend against something, you first got to understand how to use it. Okay, it goes whether it's a firearm, it goes whether it's an edged weapon, or it goes empty hands, it doesn't make a difference. If you don't understand the characteristics of how something works, then how do you understand the dangers of it? Because again, in anything, just when it comes to dealing with violence and aggression, there is always a core component of it that the violence and a certain amount of fear and all that type of stuff is very real. But you know it's bigger than that? What surrounds it, probably 80% of it, is all of the misinformation. It's all of the lies, the propaganda, it's all of the things that have been Hollywoodized, it's all the stuff that we think we know and we have come to actually kind of believe it to be true. And then when you actually start exploring it, like us, we are the masters of our realm, and our realm is combat. Once you start to actually understand what combat is, you take away a great portion of all of this illusion of the fear, the false perceptions and all that type of stuff, and then you're left with only the realities of it. And trust me, the realities of combat, they're bad enough. They're scary enough. That we don't need to have all this misinformation. And the knife is one of those things. Okay, there's so many areas of study, and you can read literally thousands of articles on knife work and how to use the knife, and there's different types of blades and what's better and what's worse. We're going to do the same thing that we always do. Okay, and I think it's a great quality that we have, is that we're not a pure knife organization, just like we're not a pure stand-up organization, we're not a pure ground organization. We care about one thing and one thing only, and that's what works in combat. That's all we care about. So we're loyal to no systems. That's a very freeing place to be, because if something changes or we find something that works better, we'll use it. We'll get rid of something that we're currently using and we'll adopt something that's better. Your brains are going to be occupied with a lot of the how-tos, a lot of technical details. Okay, so the emotional content, sometimes when we're dealing with a lot of technical stuff, tends to get left to the side, but I'll tell you what, you can never separate these two, or at the end of the day we fail. Follow through is about finishing in the exact same position that we started. Okay? So you've got 50%, then you've got 100%. So when you're doing any stroke, where the blade starts is where that blade should finish. The only other thing that I want to add onto that is that you use the frame of your body, your torso, becomes the guideline for the follow-through. That blade is not going to break the lines of your body with any real depth. So my arm doesn't start outside of the body, and it doesn't follow through outside of the body. That's way too big. Okay, we're not doing big strokes like this as if we're swinging a stick or a percussion instrument. There's no need for that kind of giant motion. It stays within the frame of the body, and it's going to start and it's going to finish all in the same line, so the follow through never breaks. Okay? What wants to fall off? The recoil. When you go, a lot of people go like this now. And at the end, they're opened out. Where should we be at the end? Turn back down. Okay? See the cut? Out. And then shoulder pulls in on the way down. So that hits, drags in. Versus, see how it's flicking? Versus, because when this hits, it's ripping through that. What you got to try to do as the feeder is you got to try to set it at a rhythm. You got to try to kind of feed it at the same pace. There. See, if I get a rhythm, then he starts dialing in the cut. That was better. That cut. See?
That was the Salem cut.
There's the difference.
Yeah. Okay.
There's the difference. But see, the body mechanic was different, right? What I'm talking about at this exact moment is somebody else carries a knife, what are they gonna do to you 9 out of 10 times? Slash you or stab you? They're gonna try and stab you. Remember, you need to do this and remember that that's what their goal is. And how effortless that is. If it's a 13-year-old kid, a 10-year-old kid with no body weight, no power, they will stab. I can hand this knife to Nia and she can stab it in there just as easy as everybody else. Which means what? To do it, what do they got to do? To stab you, what do they have to do? Come to you. This is why we use the footwork we use. This is why you've got to be able to move your body to manage the distance. You think people are worried about what happens when somebody starts punching you? Right? And we think they're a big, strong guy, and so people are like, oh, why am I moving away? You know, I want to slip and bob and weave. Change all of that and put a butcher knife in their hand, and all of a sudden, you've got a necessity to move your feet. Because to try to slip, bob, and weave against a knife is insane. You have got to zone, you have got to move. It's also another reason why I say it, if the guy's got a knife, even though we carry a knife, if they have a knife, what do we want to do? Get the hell out of there. We want that whether they got the knife or not have the knife. We want out of there. But it's these stabs. Somebody coming forward, emotion out of control, flailing and stabbing, like that one video we saw with the 2 butcher knives where he was doing a sprint forward. And just how effortless, that knife, in and out. Okay, that's it. I mean, the guy in the video, they died. I mean, 2 butcher knives, just 2 shots, and he bled out in seconds and was done. This is what we have to worry about. This is why we use the footwork we use to move into zone. This is why we've got to hone in and develop the ability to slash. Because somebody coming in to stab at me lends itself an opportunity to do what? Stab him back? No. If that stab's coming in, we're moving off angles lateral. It's the opportunity to get that hand. So is getting the hand super easy? No, it's not super easy. I mean, making contact is pretty easy. But to get a cut, if he's got a long coat on sleeve, what about Winter if he's got a glove on?